Welcome to another episode of It's Okay with Tam Tam. Just a reminder, we are in season two. This is the second year that I am doing this. So before we get started, let's take care of the logistics. So please like, follow It's Okay with Tam Tam on Facebook as well as our YouTube channel. Um, Again, I want to apologize for last week. Last week we were supposed to do a show. It was Valentine's Day. I was extremely exhausted. My husband let me wanted me to kind of take the day off. He kind of helped me out, and he also got me some beautiful roses. They were so beautiful for Valentine's Day, and that's kind of what I wanted was just a day of relaxation. So I appreciate it. Thank you, honey. And thank you guys for allowing me to take that time off. And I have to sometimes remember myself that it's okay to take time for yourself. And it was a day of love, so it was time for loving myself, which meant getting some rest. So I appreciate that. So today we're talking about seasonal affect disorder. Now, what is seasonal affect disorder? Um, Long story short, seasonal affect disorder is basically getting depressed around the same time of year due typically due to the change of the season. So this was something that I did not even realize that I was dealing with. Um, Growing up in South Florida, anybody that grew up in South Florida or know anything about South Florida, yes, it is pretty much two seasons, rainy season and non-rainy season. In South Florida, there's probably about 30-degree difference of weather between the summertime and the wintertime. And then also during the that time, places like Alaska or further north, when it's wintertime, their days are extremely short. In South Florida, there is a change in the amount of sunlight you get, but is not as drastic. So in South Florida, wasn't something that was really noticeable with me. Um, didn't know what was going on. So people that have been watching know that I live in Dallas now, and Dallas weather is a lot different than Florida weather. So I remember the first year I moved to Dallas in 2010. and we had a major ice storm, and there was gloomy weather for at least a week. I think it was 2 weeks where I didn't see any sunlight. With that being said, no sunlight. It put me in, like, I was extremely sad. I mean, to the point I was crying. I had my daughter. She was 5 at the time, so of course I didn't want to cry in front of her. But I remember, like, all I wanted to do was stay in the bed. I didn't want to get out of the bed. I didn't want to think. I was just sad. And I remember having this phone conversation with my dad. I'm calling my dad. He was still in Florida. And I say, Dad, like, we haven't seen any sunlight. There, it's just ice. It's just darkness. He said, well, should have stayed in Florida. I was like, really? That's what you want to say? Still at this point, I didn't realize it was a problem. It was just kind of like, okay, you're homesick, it's just what it is. But as time went on in living in Texas, I noticed it was more and more of a problem. And I noticed, like, it's like when you in the wintertime here, that ice storm is not a typical thing. We don't typically go that long in Dallas without seeing sun or things like that, or having ice. We do seem to be getting ice storms at least once a year or every other year, but they don't typically last as long as that one did. But I do notice it becomes extremely hard to just function. I pretty much shut down. Like, I don't want to do anything outside of what my norms are. So if I have to go into work, that's it. I want to go to work and I'm coming straight home. I don't want to do anything. I would eat and I will go to bed. Nothing else. Um, so it was later that I realized, probably within the past 5 or 6, about 5 years, I realized it was a problem. Um, I have talked to a counselor recently, and she said this is what's going on. And I said, oh, okay. She said, you have seasonal, affect disorder. Basically, in the wintertime, your body needs sunlight, and your body needs that to kind of keep you out of going into a depression. And so she suggested doing um, lamps that gives artificial sunlight off, which I have not done. But I can tell you, when I go through periods of gloominess, and I know it's times where my husband is like, now he's like, oh, the sun is out. I'm like, it's not out. Like, if the sky is still covered in clouds, it's not out. So I said, it's still gloomy out to me. But that day when that sun comes out, it's like, I feel euphoric. I feel like I'm on a natural high. It feels like, oh my goodness, I'm alive. And it's just like everything is just so wonderful. It's almost like living in fantasy land, because now I actually have light. I have sunlight. So with that, I am learning to deal with it, and explaining it to my husband and having him understand it helps. So anybody that deals with that, whether it's the winter time that you have a problem with depression, or if it's summertime or a different season. I know people that have issues with the summertime, where they're caused to get headaches and depression and things like that. Mine is the wintertime. People ask me, it's funny, people ask me, like, what's your favorite season? And I say, my favorite season is summertime. And they're like, in Texas, it's like, it's so hot. And in Florida, it's so humid. And I'm like, the sun. It's like, that's all I need is the sun. And I do love the warmth. I hate cold weather. I swear, I don't care how many layers I put on my body. When it's cold outside, I feel like the cold air goes through every single layer, goes through my skin, goes through my muscle, and hits my bones. I can feel the cold air in my bones. I hate it. I just hate it. I know hate is a strong word. You shouldn't use hate, but I hate it. I hate cold weather. And so, with that being said, so this is my logic. My favorite season is summertime. I don't care where I'm at. It can be 120 degrees outside. If the sun is outside and it's summertime and it's warm or hot, I'm happy. So here in Texas, I'm like, I don't like spring because it's tornado season. And I am petrified of tornadoes. It's like you could just tell me that it's possible that a tornado may be coming, and I'm glued to the TV and the news. I don't watch the news, but if it might be a tornado coming, I'm watching the news, trying to figure out what's going on. I'm already plotting. My anxiety is so high, my chest is pounding, and it could be 2 hours from me, but I'm still in panic mode. I just, I just hate tornadoes. So I don't like springtime here because of that. Then I don't like the fall because that means winter is right around the corner. And that means I'm going into the season that I like the least amount. So that is my logic on why I like summer. And I don't care what state I'm in, I like summer in a true summer. So, and I tell people, and this part I'm really not joking. I mean, when I go into the wintertime, I have seasonal affect disorder, but it's not to the detriment of where I'm suicidal. I'm not suicidal. Don't want to harm myself. Don't want to harm anybody. Don't need medication. I just need motivation. And thank God I have my husband who understands, because he understands. We've had this conversation about um, how I'm feeling at this time, and he is a great help. So, excuse me. So, um, I tell people, I say, one state I know I could not live in, and that's Alaska. And I said, because in Alaska, in the wintertime, they get a couple hours of sunlight, if they get that. I said, I literally would probably be on suicide watch. I would really, like, really, I would have to definitely be medicated. That is a place that I know I could not live and be functional. I would want to sleep all the time. That's the other thing. When it's wintertime here, when the sun goes down, I'm ready to go close my eyes and go to sleep. I can have a cup of hot chocolate, close my eyes, and go to sleep. Now that I have a 19-month-old, that's not possible because she gets up the same time, no matter what time of year it is. If it's sunlight outside or not, she's getting up at the same time. So I had to get up and take care of her. Um, but a benefit of, if you have some kind of disorder or something, the benefit of talking about it with others is just so others understand what you're doing and why your behavior may change. Sometimes I tend to withdraw completely. Like, I don't want to talk on the phone. I don't want to go out. I don't want to do anything. I just want to stay to myself and just, go to sleep when the sun goes down at 5:30, and try to hope that we're going to see some sunlight tomorrow. But when you talk about it, because if you don't talk about it, people get offended thinking that they might have done something to you, or you don't like them, or, feelings just can be hurt because they're like, well, I don't know, we were talking fine. And all of a sudden, I don't hear anything. Like, is she mad, or he or she mad, or what's going on? So the benefit of talking to somebody about it is so they can have an understanding, and they can do things that might help you out. So my husband, he does things that he tries to help me out, which is great. As soon as he knows the sun is coming out, he's like, okay, we got to do something. And then if the sun is not coming out and he sees that I'm going too far in the wrong direction, or I haven't gotten out of the house in a while, it's like he'll try to find a way to get me out of the house. He'll say, oh, well, maybe let's go do this or go do that. Let's go get something to eat. I love to eat. I love to go out to eat. One, because you don't have to do dishes. I don't have to cook. And it's just nice to explore new restaurants. So he would try to get me out of the house to eat, or whether he said, you know what, maybe you need to do something for yourself, go get your nails done, go get your feet done, your hair, something. And so that helps me get through the wintertime. The this as my daughter calls it, you have sad. So it helps me get through this time. So it is a benefit that if you do have something like this, whether you have just situational depression where something happened major in your life and you're dealing with depression, sometimes people don't know um, how you're feeling. And it's okay that you're feeling that way, but talk about it so that you can get the proper help that you need. If you need to go to counseling, go to counseling. If you need to go to a psychiatrist to get medications that'll help you get through whatever you need, do that. But talk to family members and talk to others around you so that you can have support that you need. Understand, life is tough. Nobody's life is cookie cutter. Nobody walking this planet does not have any type of health issues, doesn't have any type of mental health issue. Everybody has something, whether they're dealing with a situation that happened, whether they're fighting with somebody, whether they got a new chronic disease, or whatever it is. Everybody is dealing with somebody. So understand, when you talk about it with somebody else, one, you might find out somebody else is dealing with the same problem that you're having, and you guys can talk about how you can get through it. Sometimes if they're not doing it, sometimes they can show empathy and then they can just help you get through whatever you need. So nobody is doing anything alone. And understand, people that you think have everything picture perfect and they don't ever seem to have problems and nothing's going wrong, they are going through stuff too. Some people just hide it, and hiding it always might not always be the best option. We have heard about people who we think are happy and then suddenly they have committed suicide. So I don't want to hear about suicide anymore. I'm hoping that anybody that's dealing with any type of depression or any type of illness or any type of anything, that they will open up and find that person that they are trusting, that they can feel like they can talk to, and find ways to help them to get through anything. Life is tough. Life is full of up and downs. That is just life. And we are social beings. We have to socialize and we have to talk to people and we have to work with people to get through what we need to do. Isolation is not a good thing. So me going through pulling away from others because I'm going through the seasonal effect in the wintertime, me talking to other people and know, and they so they know about it before the winter times come. Because if I wait till wintertime, I'm not gonna tell anybody because I'm withdrawing at that time. But if I've told somebody before, when the wintertime come, they're like, oh, this is what Tamara's going through. Oh, let me call and check on her. And I have two very solid friends who periodically they know to check on me. And I've known them since 96. It's a whole group of us. We've known each other since 96. And we have each other's back. And we may go through periods where we might not hear each other for a month or so, but they know that I go through stuff. So after a while, they're like, oh, I haven't heard from her in a while. And they're picking up the phone and they're calling, checking on me. And they're saying, hey, how you doing? Just checking on you, see what's going on, what's new. And so it's great because they know the things that I go through, things I've been through. Like on the show, you guys have learned a lot between miscarriages and just a divorce and being a single mom and mom anxiety and have had work anxiety and just going through all of that, having a mother that has cancer, just going through all of that and talking about it has really helped me get through some of this stuff. And then people kind of understand why, oh, okay, maybe this is why she's acting like this, and this is the reason. So, needless to say, anybody else dealing with something, maybe you didn't know. I didn't know I had seasonal effect until later on. I had been dealing with it for several years. If you think that it's something that you might be dealing with it, you can talk to your doctor about it, your primary doctor, and explain to them. They can give you some things and some techniques, or if they need to, they can refer you to counseling of what you can do to kind of help you get through the seasons, especially if you have other symptoms like headaches and stuff like that. They can find ways to help you out. So talk about it. So don't go through suffering if you don't have to. If you can get something to help you get through these humps, get something to help you. And I don't mean self-medicating. Like, don't self-medicate if you are not a physician. Make sure you talk to the appropriate people to help you get through what you need. Okay? So that is our talk. I know it's a short talk on seasonal affect disorder. So you guys are very quiet out there today. I'm hoping it's probably because I missed last week, but I'm hoping that next week when we're on, that we actually have more people interacting. Because when we have more people interacting, they can learn more. If people just rely on me, I'm only one person. I'm only on one side. People need to hear other point of views about the same topic because you can learn more. I'm not the God. So let's all hopefully get more interaction next week. I think I'm going to talk about a strong woman. I think that's what I want to talk about. So anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful week. I will see you guys next week. And remember, again, like, follow It's Okay with Tam Tam on Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're still doing the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. All of it's free. No money needed. Just support me and me trying to get a message, get a word out. Hopefully, by listening, I can make your day better. So, again, have a wonderful week. And if you need help, don't be afraid to talk to somebody. You guys have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.
What?